Hello again, everyone. I'm Gary Gatto. Welcome to the Race First coverage of Round 4 of the inaugural season of the ISRA Xfinity Series. We come to you tonight from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Joining me in the booth and kind of doing the double tonight, but we shat and talk about the first race in Indianapolis that he had, but he's in the booth with me, is the former iRacing Indy Fixed Series champion, Mark Murphy. Welcome to Charlotte, Mark.
Yeah, I feel I've been doing the Kyle Larson thing virtually tonight, but I don't have to race the second one, so that's a good thing. The first one went really well. We didn't get the results to show for it, but the IRA cars are going to be bullet fast for the iRacing 500, and that's what matters.
That's right, new team.
Yeah, so really the first outing as a full-fledged member of the team.
Nice.
That was a lot of fun. And then we get to come see some quality stock car action at Charlotte, which these cars here, the Xfinity cars, some of the fastest, some of the best. I shouldn't say fastest because the Cup cars are faster, but they are much more fun to drive than the current Cup car, which is kind of just on rails around here. These cars have a lot more power than the truck. They're a lot more slippery. They're going to move around a lot. We're going to see different lines. We're going to see guys hitting Humpy's hump completely wrong and turning loose down in one. This car is going to get really light going through the tri-oval. This is kind of what I envision a stock car should be. And the other thing is, for our viewers at home, what you may or may not realize is this track is very, very narrow.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
it's only 3 lanes wide.
It is very narrow. Case in point, when you drive an Indy car on it, it's like threading the needle almost every lap, especially when you try to pass somebody.
Yeah, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. Look for guys to set runs. Look for guys to set up runs coming with a high entry and a low exit, so they can get the run down the back or the front as they may. Going down the inside through the double dog leg on old tires can get very, very treacherous, in an Indy car going through the quad oval on worn tires.
Yeah.
You can very easily spin the thing out in a straight line. The other thing is the transitions here are very, very abrupt, Gary.
Yeah.
You all fall out of the elevator coming out of turn 4, especially if you're on the high side. On the bottom, it's not so bad, but if you get up top with a head of steam, it's like somebody yanks the track out from under you. If you're coming off that high side with a good run, and look for all those things to kind of play here, because you're gonna have to move around the racetrack as the tires wear and the tires age. Who can take care of those? Mike Rigney, with his wry sense of humor, gives him 4 sets. You could easily use that if there's 4 early blows. So who's going to manage the tire situation? That's the other thing.
Well, we are ready to go racing already, as time is up, and looks like Pat Armstrong will be on the pole. And let's get tonight's starting lineup in here from Charlotte. Pat Armstrong, good old stretch. He is P1 with a 176.2. That can't be right. Yeah, that is right. 176.207. Next is Greg Evans, P2, making his first start, and a slick-looking ride, I must admit. I like the paint job on that. 175.9. Say Hey Lewis Hayes, best start of the season for him, I believe. P3. Rick D, P4. Michael Goodman, one of our previous winners here. He is 5th. Sam Crow is 6th. Pepto Joe is 7th. Richie Hearn 8th. Dean Darth Maul 9th. And David, and we got the Twinsy Rodriguez. I'm not sure I understand the Twinsy, but a nickname has been bestowed upon him by the administrator. So I guess we honor that. So Twinsy is 10th. Remember that, Twinsy.
Twinsy.
Big John, 11th. Stock car driver Matt Wagner in his element tonight is 12th. And we got Lionel Callisto lining up 13th with no time. And hopefully we get the remainder of the grid in here. We got Butch Davis 14th. And the host of the most, Mike Rigney, who we want to send our best thoughts and prayers to. It's been a rough week for him and his family. Good to see him back. And he is lining up 15th tonight. Sending out all of our best vibes to you, that all we can.
Absolutely. Can't imagine what that guy's thinking, but we're certainly thinking about him for sure. Um, we got what, another minute here, maybe?
Yeah, we're actually well ahead of schedule here.
Yeah. Always like a series that keeps a tight schedule, especially on a work night, right?
Every night's a work night for me, almost.
There you go. The benefits of being salaried and on call. Field's starting to roll away. Pat Armstrong, Greg Evans, your front row. Say hey, Lewis Hayes, Rick D make up the second row. Michael Goodman and Sam Crow the third. Pepto Joe and Richie Hearn in row 4. Dean Darth Maul and David Twinsy Rodriguez. We're going to start in the 5th row, 9th and 10th. Big John Morales and the stock car driver Matty Wagner make up row 6. Lionel Callisto, Butch Davis, the 7th row, and shotgun on the field. The host with the most, Mike Rigney. No time. I would be willing to bet you, should he choose to race, he will not be there long.
And before we get to the start here, real quick, the rule set for tonight. This is a 1.5 mile quad oval, 155 laps, 232.5 miles, 4 sets of tires, 1 in the car, 3 in the pits, 75% fuel, 1 fast repair. Lucky Dog is on. Waiver rounds are on. No restart zone. 1 green-white checkered attempt, and the pit road speed limit's 45. Getting ready to go racing.
Here we go. Pace car on pit road. Lights are out.
Green flag, green flag.
They're in the Geico restart zone. Green flag flies. Pat Armstrong leads away from Greg Evans just barely. Now watch, Gary, as they get down here into turn 1. We're gonna see if the high line or the low is preferred early. And the front row got a big jump on the back. 6-7 car lengths the difference. Back to 3rd place, Say Hayes.
It looks like Butch and Mike did not line up, but still, we send our best thoughts and prayers all to the Rigney family. Back racing action coming into lap 1.
Michael Goodman. Whoa, we got an accident on the front. That's going to be Pepto Joe Flanagan spinning across the.
Wow,
the
Van Voorellis
yellow.
missing a front portion of his car.
Yeah, don't quite know what happened here. Going to go back and look. Ooh. So I don't know if you've got the replay queued up. Let me know when you do.
We got it queued up here, and I got the camera on Big John.
Oy, so Pepto Joe down on the bottom. He's going to get kind of loose here. He saved that race car for, I don't know, a good 200 or 300 yards.
Oh, right up it. Oh, in the Wagner.
Yeah.
And then a JV. Anymore. So fast repairs, much like the Dark Horse race last night at New Hampshire, are going to be dished out a little early tonight for a couple drivers.
Yeah, sorry about that, Dad. So as I've mentioned, my father texts me throughout the races. He'll watch and then text me his thoughts because he knows they come through on my watch. Offers of me buying him a subscription to iRacing so he could talk to me on the radio, getting him Discord so he could be on the radio, right? That way, have gone for naught. He prefers to text me his thoughts. And the third time I spun out off of turn number 2, there were several things that I won't say on TV, followed by, can't you control your race car off of turn 2? And so my text back several minutes after the race was over was
STFU or anything like that.
No, I don't text back. But
okay.
After the race was over, the message back was, if it's that easy, why don't you come? And it was crickets for the rest of the night. You know, and that's the thing about this. This is about as close as you can get to the real thing without doing it. And and not everybody can do this, and that's why I have such admiration for these guys, because I cannot drive a stock car to save my life, and such admiration for the 15 guys lined up here, because they're doing something I can't do, and it's awesome to watch.
Well, what are we thinking tonight for pits in terms of stints? We thinking a 3-stopper or a 4-stopper? Just judging by how we've done things in the past, we have 3 sets of tires in the pits. So a 4-stopper, just so they can't use that set of tires on a 1 pit stop.
I mean, they should be able to make it 60, 70 laps on gas without an issue.
Yeah.
The thing about that is going to be, the tire degradation. Charlotte eats tires.
Yes.
In the same way that a Kansas does, or Darlington. It's in the Carolinas. Same kind of asphalt composition as Darlington, really. Sand hill asphalt. And if you go look at those tracks, you go look at Indianapolis, Gary. You've been on the track. It's just perfectly smooth, and it's almost feels like you're walking on rubber. Ever get that sensation walking across the track at Indianapolis?
It is very smooth, very, very smooth. As Al Jr. called it, the billiard table.
If you go to Charlotte or Darlington or Rockingham and you look down on the surface, you can see the sand and the it almost looks,
the grit.
I don't want to say, yeah, you can see the grit in the pavement. Very different from what we're used to with the perfection that is Indianapolis, right? These places are not that smooth. Matter of fact,
this racetrack's been around a while, though. A lot of people don't. I mean, they look at this, they go, "Oh, 1.5 miles." Well, a bulk of the 1.5 miles been really built in the last 25 years or so. But this is like the original 1.5 miles. This thing's been around since the 60s.
Yeah, Curtis Turner, if memory serves, was one of the original partners, and then with Bruton Smith, bankruptcy happened. It changed hands a few times. Bruton Smith then got control of the Speedway back with the original partners out of the picture, and this is what the Speedway Motorsports empire was built on.
Yep,
is Charlotte. This is the original jewel in that crown.
Yeah, it really helped, though, with all those teams nearby, though. That's much like Indianapolis, where all the teams are kind of nearby, somewhere in Indianapolis for the most part. All the teams in the NASCAR series, for the most part, are also kind of around this area.
Yeah, and we don't think about that in terms of racetracks. We turn on the TV and see 100,000 people in the stands and think that's how they make all their money. What they really made their money on, and really make their money on before testing bans and such, was private test days. And Charlotte, because of all the teams there, was always in use.
Yeah.
Go back to the scene in Days of Thunder. I paid $7,500, $4,500, whatever it was, to use this track today. Well, this track was in use every day that there wasn't snow or rain on it.
Right.
Which is kind of how Indianapolis is, come to think of it.
Well, if you enjoy Raceverse coverage of the ISRA Xfinity Series and respect the stream, we're getting ready to come back to green. Please do us a solid. Make sure you support us by subscribing, and while you're at it, don't forget to smash like, click the bell so you don't miss out on future Raceverse broadcasts. And don't forget, if you have not done so already, please donate, because we do this for free, and we do it for the love of the ISRA community. So donate if you have not done so already. Coming to green, one of our rare yellow portions, yellow caution periods of this series. Lap 7, green, out of 155.
There we go. Straight to the lead goes Pat Armstrong. Greg Evans remains second. Say Lewis Hayes still third. I note that the stock car driver, Matty Wagner, has hung way back out of this pack. Remember him, Pepto Joe Flanagan. Those guys had used their faster.
And Van Voorellis, yeah.
So may want to not.
Let's get some laps underneath us here before maybe starting to go racing. We get a little bit more single file, because we know Big John and Pepto and Matty have some pace to them. So maybe everything will get single filed out of here a little bit as we're going too wide down the backstretch. Rick D side by side with Richie Hearn.
Richie already working that high line. And there's that huge run I kind of talked about coming off the high side. He's going to get a big run right up to the back at Dean Darth Mall there. Richie Hearn fourth, looking for third. Right down the wheels on that blue and white line around the bottom of the Charlotte Motor Speedway. He's gonna look to the inside here. I think on Dean going into 3. Thinks better of it.
Of course, Richie was
no, he gave him the chrome horn there.
He did. Oh,
we got one spinning now. That's
Say Hey,
Lewis Hayes taking a ride. Stay off of pit lane, Lewis.
Try to get the camera on him. There we go. Nice job. Nice job.
Good job. Good job from Say Hey Lewis Hayes there. Great job. Didn't hit anything. Didn't go down pit road. Didn't get himself a drive-through penalty. He'll just cool his tires off and keep on trucking.
So get ready to say with Richie Hearn. Forgot we were at another track of his that he holds at least the IRL IndyCar track record at New Hampshire.
Yeah, that race last night was a lot of fun. I don't know how big the net code was with me and with Maddie and I. It felt like there was at least 2 feet there. So.
Oh yeah, that was egregious net code. Egregious.
Sorry, Pops. I couldn't keep the thing straight off of 2. Probably lack of talent. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I really do enjoy running those cars though. The DW12 has been an awesome learning experience for me. I was able to apply a lot of the
Richie,
things
Richie just... Oh, no, he's back.
Now he's back. I hope his cat is nowhere near the dog or cat or whatever. Nowhere near the Ethernet cord, although his connection's coming back. Bad storms across Indiana today. I don't know where Richie lives, of course, but
I think he's out west. But let's see where, storm-wise here in the northern part of the state is getting hit. Your part of the state's getting hit pretty good right now.
Yeah, it's it was rocking and rolling pretty good. We had a guy out of Chicago that disconnected in that race earlier. It thundered loud enough. It have a retro Pi that's in a Game Boy case, and it's sitting in a stand on my mantle, and it undershook it so hard it came out of its stand. So
wow.
Yeah.
Rick D is starting to fall back a little bit, but again, we're getting to the point now where these guys are now getting into a bit of and Rick D way up on the high line. And they're getting a bit of a routine, getting a bit of a rhythm going on here. So again, a lot of these guys, and I think Rick kind of is more of a stock car guy, but a lot of these guys are IndyCar guys from the Lionheart series. Automatically, you go into fuel conservation saving mode. It's really hard not to do when you're an IndyCar driver.
Not just that, but saving tires, I think, is critical. Although, I'll tell you who's not saving tires, Richie Hearn. He's going to go to the outside of Dean Darth Mall again, coming off of turn number 4. Works that high side. He should clear him coming off of 2 if everything works out well. Richie, though, is playing it very, very, very cautious. Nice separation there between those 2 cars. But saving tires and saving fuel in a stock car or an Indy car, for that matter, go hand in hand. They really do. It's I'm kind of noting where these guys are lifting off. The flames are coming out of the pipes well before they normally would if you were trying to run hard. Qualification last year, the pole was Pat Armstrong 29.7. We are already running around in the just over 31 seconds, so we're already 31 seconds over ultimate pace. And remember, unlike an IndyCar, these qualify on full fuel, so the ultimate pace really is 29.7. Mm-hmm. So we're already 1.3 seconds over that. They can go much faster. Problem is, they're saving tires, they're saving fuel. Richie Hearn not saving much of anything. He is
No.
pulled right up on the back of Greg Evans,
And he has
who is now going for the lead.
Yeah, and he has a purple lap. Hearn at a 172.7. We got there on the screen. The purple number 3 next to his number 70 shows he has the purple lap. We will get back to the action at hand as Greg Evans. Welcome him to the league. Here he is, your new leader.
Lionel Callisto just had an event. Don't know what that was. I'm going to go check on it. He has fallen
big
back to
scrub on the side of the car there.
Okay, so he did.
I don't know if there's such a thing as a Charlotte stripe.
I don't know, but he had to have hit it. Just the amount of time and positions he lost there. Lionel Callisto, uncharacteristic mistake, drops back to 8th position, I believe it is.
Well, and while we are talking about that, let me remove the graphics here. And as we're getting into a little bit of a rhythm, let's bring up the points for the series. As we are now 4 races in to the 14 race schedule. Goodman is your leader by 2 points over Callisto. Sam Crow, by virtue of having 2 consecutive podiums, is now up to 3rd. Matt Wagner 4th. Rigney 5th. Flanagan 6th. Lewis Hayes, say hey there, right there in 7th. Rick D in 8th. Richie Hearn 9th. And Big John in 10th. There's the remainder of your field. Still a lot left to play for here in the series. We got only 14 of 4 of 14 rounds. We should be going right through to August.
Yeah. And again, this series is just so much fun, Gary. So much fun to watch. So much fun to be a part of. Watching Richie Hearn go, well, he's fallen back into the clutches of Dean Darthmall now. The front 2 have kind of pulled away a little bit as my connection starts to play tricks. Well, Richie Hearns is also playing tricks. So you got the broadcaster and the broadcaster and P4 blinking at the same time. How about that?
Track cams provided today by Whiplash Sim Cams. I want to say thank you to Whiplash Sim Cams for being the official camera pack provider for Race First. To learn more about Whiplash, follow them on Twitter or on Facebook, and all of their links are in the description. Get the most out of your iRacing experience with Whiplash Sim Cams. Hopefully that just wasn't lightning that just zapped you.
I hope not. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So, my apologies.
Do we need to go to the shelter?
No, we
That's all right. Go ahead and take care of whatever you need to take care of here.
No, we got the
24 of 155. Evans, Armstrong, Mall, Rodriguez, Hearn, your top 5.
Absolutely. And then same pro, Rick D, 6 and 7. Go back here to Michael Goodman and 8. Big John Bondralis, 9. 10.
Sounds like you're talking in the next room.
Well, let me
Take your time. I got this for you. And if you're just joining us, this is Race First Storm coverage of the ISRA Xfinity Series coming to you from Charlotte. We've completed 26 of 155. You enjoy Race First coverage of tonight's race and would like to monetarily support us. And Murph, as he's fighting off EF1 at the moment, feel free to find our GoFundMe campaign in the stream description and send a donation to our GoFundMe broadcast campaign. We realize times are tough, so any donation, no matter amount, is greatly appreciated.
How's this?
Now, if we were doing an old timey broadcast, like back in the 70s or something, that would be dead on for the right sound.
Just you can call me Barney Hall for the rest of the night. Not until I go,
you can start talking about Cale Yarborough and Wallace family and all those. You just go in there. Just when the Wood brothers were good.
So my apologies.
Daryl Waltrip.
No, my apologies once again. My apologies once again to our viewers. My primary headset just died. Thankfully, I work at home, and my primary job is on a phone, so I have 94 sets of headphones laying around. And we are now working on our alternate facility, not nearly as good as the Corsair Pros that normally adorn my ears and microphones, but good enough, I suppose.
Well, thank you to the Lionheart guys with the HyperX headsets we got.
Yeah, I'm have to give George a call. Maybe I can negotiate for a pair of those. Watching Richie Hearn, I'm watching Richie Hearn work on the outside of Richie. He is falling back fifth, and he's about to lose that to Rick D. Sam Crow, an interested observer to that battle for fifth. Richie went too hard, too quick. And he looks as though he's fighting an evil loose race car right now, Gary, trying to just keep it up on the top and keep the momentum and make Rick and Sam use up their stuff, finishing it off on the bottom.
Let's ride with Richie, excuse me. He's on the going through the quad oval.
Now, one of the ways that you can help cure a loose race car, see how he entered way up high, but he came off the corner on the bottom?
Yeah.
That's one of the ways that you can kind of cure a loose race car, especially on a mile and a half. And then watch, he's going to come off a 4. He comes off a 4 much lower than you normally would, because he doesn't want to hit the transition. He's really going to upset you. He's going to come in low. Now, when you get up behind somebody, if he's getting up behind David Rodriguez here, you're going to get the bad air. Don't hit the apron for heaven's sake. But when you get in that disturbed air behind another car, just like in an open wheel car, that's going to inherently produce understeer, right, or push. It's going to make stock car push. And so catching David Rodriguez is probably actually helping to see it. I would suspect.
Rigney says that he could send you a broadcast mic if you need one. We got some fast facts there. He goes, Greg Evans is definitely not a rookie. I didn't think so. I think Greg Evans is a bit of a ringer, and he's showing us right now why he's in this league. One of the cleanest, fastest guys I know in a stock car. Glad to have him, says Rigney. Well, definitely putting on a show here very early, 34 of 155. And then he said, fun fact, Sam, Big John, Lewis, and Pepto he has raced with for over 20 years. So I'm guessing they're going back to the old NASCAR Racing 2003 days, the very early predecessor, I guess, what should be to the modern era of iRacing.
Yeah, and so, for those of you guys who might be newcomers to this, the roots, as Richie Hearn pointed out a little bit again, the roots of iRacing are NASCAR Racing 2003. I don't know how far back you go. I can remember having NASCAR Racing 2, IndyCar Racing 2, and Indianapolis 500, the simulation, on my computer as a kid.
Yeah, I had the simulation. That was the first introduction, and then my neighbor was involved with a lot of Thursday Night Thunder, Tuesday Night Thunder on ESPN, and also some of the early ESPN Speed World broadcast. And I was at his house one day, and he showed me, he goes, "You need to check this out." And he shows me IndyCar Racing, which was basically IndyCar Racing 1 at the time. So what I did at that point is then went to them all and found B. Dalton Books, which I think had the earliest electronics boutiques in the back of them, which are now GameStops, which they eventually became GameStops. And that's where I bought IndyCar Racing 1, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway expansion pack, and the expansion track pack for IndyCar Racing 1. So that's what I broke my my sim racing in on, sharpened my teeth and my skills. And I think my very first controller was just a standard issue joystick. And eventually I got into a Thrustmaster T1 wheel, or it was a T2 wheel, T2. And then eventually got IndyCar Racing 2 and NASCAR 1. But the biggest thing that I had fun with back in those days was this was kind of the early days of modding, where people were kind of hacking into the code and being able to mod things. Now, if you go looking for stuff for IndyCar Racing 1 and 2, you'll find all sorts of custom tracks and tracks that didn't exist and tracks that did exist, but they made better versions of them. Well, this was entirely new back when we were doing this, and someone introduced a track converter, which would convert the NASCAR tracks to IndyCar and the IndyCar tracks to NASCAR. So this was the first time, and this just happened to come right around the Indy Racing League kart split. And when the IndyCars then were starting to come to Charlotte, and all starting to come to Texas, and starting to come to Atlanta, and what else? Dover, and so we're able to race, which would have been equivalent of a 95 era IndyCar. 85, 95 era. So it was a 95 Renard Honda on Firestone tires, which was like the package to have back in the mid 90s. You could race that. You could race that here, and I remember doing 245 at Charlotte in that style car. 260 at Talladega, like it was no problem. I think 220 or so at Dover. It was just really madness, but it was really fun. I remember doing 200 plus at Rockingham. That was great. But yeah, that was the big thing, and so that took a lot of my time in the mid 90s, late 90s, until I kind of got tired of it after a while. And really, the split kind of ruined any future video games coming out. There was Kart Precision Racing that tried to do some stuff, but it wasn't a lot of fun, and it just didn't have the community that IndyCar Racing 1 and 2 had. But we would have leagues, and we would have leagues where we would it would offline leagues, and we would take our results and we would compare our results against other drivers in our leagues, and that's how we would determine where we finished. And so that's how I broke into sim racing, is in the offline leagues. And in fact, one of the guys that I broke into offline racing with back in the day, Rick Ravon, will be on our fixed broadcast, me and you and he, along with LGN, when we broadcast the fixed Indy 500 coming up next Saturday at 5 p.m.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. To tell you how full circle that's come and how crazy is it, and how the technology has just advanced so far in my lifetime, for sure. Indianapolis 500, the simulation came out when I was 7 years old, and I remember getting a copy of that game on 5.5 or 5 1/4 inch disc. Remember those things?
Yep.
That were actually floppy?
Yep. 5 1/4 discs, the 5 1/4 disc drive.
Yep. And it was, we had an Intel. We had an IBM with an Intel 386 chip, which at the time was the top stuff. And
I think pit stops are starting to happen here.
Yes, they are, and we're right in that window. And we'd be in remiss. We're right in that window now, where if you wanted to short pit it, you could, and certainly do so. Something else that we might want to mention: the stock car driver Matty Wagner has pulled himself back up to 6. Now he stopped at lap 6, or he stopped at lap 6. So he already used up one set of Goodyears on that number 12 machine. But he is nicing through the field now with just that little bit of fresh tires. Richie Hearn signaling he's going to come in the pit lane. Rick D is think about ready to throw in the towel. 45 laps seems to be about what they want to do here. 45 to get them to 90. And it could theoretically go to the end from 90 if they wanted to, or maybe just make a splash and go at the end. But the stock car driver, by
here comes a lot of stops here. Rick D, Richie Hearn.
They've fallen all the way into the 32-second range in their lap time, so they're 3 seconds off the pace. Just they're done in terms of tires. But this might work out for Matt because if he can go long here, it's going to put him in the back, but he can kind of flip the tire strategy around and maybe be on fresh ones at the end after everybody else has used up theirs, or to get a late caution. He's back in the fight. So good show for Matt Wagner, who now has taken the lead. That car was torn up 40 some odd laps to go, and now he's in the lead here. He's got a nice lead over Stan Crow, 7 tenths per second. 1.1 seconds back to Sam Armstrong, Lionel Flisto 2.5 back, and Big John 3 seconds in arrears in fifth. We've got more cars coming to pit lane, and we've got contact. That was we don't know who that was. Got in the back of is it Rick D? No, it's Big John. There was a car that got in the back of Big John getting on pit road, and I didn't see who it was. Couldn't quite make it out.
All right, we'll go back here and see what happened. Big John's in the Dolphins-looking car, and Pepto. I think Pepto. Well, I don't know if he got into the back of him. We'll see what happens here. This is Crow, our pole sitter, Stretch, and then Big John almost got in the back of Pepto Joe. It looks like everybody got on pit road there.
Okay. It appeared as though there might have been contact.
Okay, here comes Wagner. Here comes Wagner, yeah. Very fast off the banking.
Don't speed now.
And this will hand the lead back over to Evans. So at 55 laps, and we were doing the kind of the math before, a two-stopper is right at 51 laps. So Wagner is right at the strategy to do a two-stopper if that's what he wants to do. Right about that. He needs to go a little bit farther, but he might have got as far as he could.
To be fair, he's locked into that now, Gary. He's locked into it because he had to take a set of tires early because of the accident. You send these things out, they're not happy, and you got to change them. So he's kind of locked into that deal. But again, that might work out for him. We see him come back on the track. He is going to blend out right behind Pat Armstrong. So he made up quite a good bit of track position there.
So our pit reporter, Mike Rigney, says that Twinsy said his right front tire was 46% after this stint, which really doesn't sound too bad, to be honest.
No, it doesn't. And to me, that's pretty amazing. For me, the issue here is always the right rear. I'm always burning off the right rear, not the right front. So I'd be interested to see what some of those were. But to kind of close out the discussion from the sim racing earlier, it boggles my mind that Marsh's technology. There's a guy who at one point was an executive producer for Activision that does high-end RetroPies now. Mm-hmm. And I mentioned to you earlier that it thundered. There was a lightning strike close enough to my house that I have two of them. I have the big RetroPies that hooked up to PlayStation 3 controllers on the big screen. And I have another one on what is the equivalent of a Game Boy in Game Boy. Indianapolis 500 of simulation, IndyCar Racing 1 and 2 are both on the Game Boy, and my son plays them. And it boggles my mind that something that used to take these huge discs, right, is now contained in something along with thousands of other games in a something that, Allie is, fits in the palm of my hand almost. But it's also really cool to see, my kids want to play with that stuff too. My daughter very, very into the Ninja Turtles. She'll sit and play Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as long as you'll let her. My youngest son, a sucker for Donkey Kong, and AJ, he likes to play Tron. Original coin-op version of Tron, which is also one. He'll play Tron until you take it away from him. Very interesting that that's their chosen deal. Back to the race, though.
Yeah, we're looking at a battle here for the lead brewing as Twinsy has reeled in Evans, and he has been consistently faster than him, although I think Evans now has decided to pick up the pace. Both did a 30.7 last time by. Other words from the pit, Wagner says that his tire was at 63%. As Rigney says, this should be interesting. Now, don't forget, Wagner should have changed. That should be his second set of tires, because he got involved with that caution early on. I think he stopped to get another set, unless he didn't. I don't know. I thought that he was on a second set, but that would make sense. It would be at a higher number if only he didn't go as far as everyone else. But I could be wrong. And let's see, you hadn't had long distance phone bills of $1,700 to Hawaii. If you have, are you even a sim racer? Yeah. So the way that you could do you could do PvP in iRacing, or not iRacing, but NASCAR racing, and later IndyCar racing too, is you would race someone PvP via modem. And that's how you could do in the early days of person versus person.
Yeah. Now we were never allowed to do that.
I always wanted to do it. I just could never trust. Who am I dialing up against? Am I dialing up against a kid or whatever? And that's kind of what iRacing makes it a lot better for us with the licensing system and the I rating and the safety rating. It gives you a better idea of who you're up against. But even then, a lot of people don't like the official races. They prefer to do these league races, just like we're doing here tonight, where you're kind of racing the same people over and over again, and you build up. Not only you don't have a safety rating or an I rating, but you build up personal trust and personal safety ratings with the people around you, and sometimes those are more valuable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And one of the things that that people will notice, like if you look at this, if you were to pull the field in this race, you'd see 2,500. The strength of field in this race is well over 2,500. Most of these guys don't race official races. I can't tell you the last time I saw Matt Wagner in an official race, or Richie Hearn, right? They simply don't, and the reason is, one, leagues, and this one doesn't, but leagues can have a little bit of skin in the game, and so you can have prize money. So the ARL 500 that you called a couple of weeks ago, I mean, that race paid $120 to win it. So there's some prize money involved in these and such. The second reason that guys do it is just for the reason that a lot of the weapons that's being involved getting by twinsies. But the reason that you'll see guys like this race in leagues predominantly is because it keeps the weapons out. There are no Brazilian clears in this league.
There are, but they're a little bit more forgivable.
Right. Like, my point is, you'll never see those weapons. You'll never see those guys. I just said weapons. You'll never see those guys in a league like this simply because the drivers that are considered weapons are not allowed to participate.
Right.
By either acclamation, the administrator knows who they are. It says, I don't want that type of influence in my league. And it leads to, in many cases, much better racing for both the participants and the viewers at home. We've had one caution here, which really it was for Pepto Joe hitting the apron and getting out of shape on cold tires. Beyond that,
Yeah.
They've got to kind of lay the glove on each other, and they're producing a fantastic race. Greg Evans leads it, Dean Darthmall second, David Rodriguez third, Michael Goodman fourth. Everybody's kind of spread out. They're doing their own thing, but there's intrigue, right? Matty Wagner on pressure tires by, between 6 and 3.
Yeah, we'll give everyone an update on that. Ooh, Greg trying to get by Richie here to put him a lap down. According to our pit guy, Wagner said he did not take a set of tires on lap 6. He has 2 sets remaining after his pit stop. And then also from the prize pool for ISRA, other than the trophies, prizes are in the works for the summer-fall schedule. Insider tip. And Pepto Joe waving. I don't know how he manages to do that from 9th spot. Oh, Wagner. This is a good run right here. This is a whole group. Crow, Wagner, Pepto Joe, Stretch, and Rick D. They're all in a group right here. Faddle, this is for position.
Yeah, and look, I mean, you got everybody spread out. You got this wad of 4 cars here. You cannot go 3 wide here. I mean, you can barely go 2 wide here. Ask Darrell Waltrip about that. You can barely go 2 wide here. It narrows significantly on corner exits, especially off of turn 4. But we're going to watch Matty Wagner. He's going to dive deep.
And there he goes. He clears. He is up to 5th now. And just to let everyone know where we are on the run, Greg Evans, your leader, is 19 laps into his run. Now 20 laps in this run. He stopped on 48. Dean Darthmall, also 20 laps into his run. He stopped on 48 as well. So these two on the top 2 are on the same strategy. Twinsy, 23 laps, stopped on lap 45. So the next stop is going to be a little bit earlier than everyone else. Michael Goodman has worked his way up at the 4th spot. The New Yorker, 22 laps on the current stint. He stopped at lap 46. Matt Wagner went the longest out of everyone. He went 51. So he is right at that 2-stop area to go to the distance, and he is 17 laps on the current stint. He has the freshest tires out of anybody on the racetrack at the moment by at least a lap. But he also has a long way to go for his next stop, at least another 30 laps or so before he can remotely think about hitting pit road for the final time.
And what are those extra 2 or 3 laps worth right now, Gary? About 2/10 a lap.
Yeah.
About 2/10 of a second a lap on a stoplight. He went through and has pulled away from Armstrong, Crow, and Rick D. My goodness, I can't talk. He's simply, not only do I sound like I'm in the 1970s, I'm talking like I've been to some of their concerts. But in truth, I mean, he's demolishing the rest of the field on pace. Half a second a lap quicker than Rodriguez per lap.
And it turned into the wall. He was actually just trying to give Wagner some room, and he kind of forced it up into the wall a little bit. Again, very, very narrow here. You could, even when IndyCar was here in the IRL, they didn't go much beyond 2 wide.
No, and you can't. It's nearly impossible in an open field car to pass here, unless there's some huge tire differential, because you can't just give it the line that you have to run, the line that's dictated by the cars. Means it's very difficult to pull off a pass on the bottom. So as the run goes on, guys will move higher and higher and do that high entry and low exit, and you simply cannot pass because there's no clean air to build a run with, because the straightaways aren't long enough to allow it. That's why a track like Texas or Kentucky is so awesome, because you've got one end of the track so different than the other. You've got choices in terms of lanes. And that's what makes the racing in those 2 places so awesome, where here you're kind of locked into one line. These guys aren't. Then again, they have equal horsepower. equal horsepower, the tires are half as wide, and the car weighs twice as much. And so, they're able to start flipping and sliding around and hunting for grip in different lines, and you can make passes. Wagner's lap times, by the way, starting to stabilize. 31,652 to a 727 for the leader, Greg Evans. So they're starting to stabilize a little bit. Don't know that he's going to have enough to reach Mike Goodman before the end of this run. We're now 74 laps into the event, working lap 75. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how the end of this plays out. Did those guys short pit on fuel? Is there more left in the tank? Make it further, or is that all it's got? I tend to think they probably could make it further, given what we've seen another mile and a half. But I don't know, Gary.
All right. Well, we're watching Dean Darth Maul as he continues to run here in second, but losing ground to Greg Evans. Greg Evans now your leader by 2.9 seconds. Over Maul and 5.7 seconds over Rodriguez. Goodman 8 seconds back. Wagner 10 seconds back. Evans has set the purple lap. I'm not sure exactly when he set that, but it's a 30.187. I'd imagine he set that pretty close to getting new tires. And so Pepto Joe, the ability of Pepto Joe to type and race, the myth has been broken. It is his son that has actually been doing that. So the best magician never tells about their tricks, but he let this one go. So Greg Evans still making his way. This is now 29, coming to 30 laps on this stint. Matt
Wagner has chiseled it to 9.8 seconds up to Greg Evans, and he's got 1.4 seconds up the road now from Michael Goodman. So he's back in the 0.2 of a second a lap deal, working to catch the front here.
Oh, Goodman in the wall that time off of 2 as we jump to the in-car.
Yeah, now, sometimes that can help you. You remember Dale Earnhardt Jr., he adjusted it on the wall, won the Winston here at Charlotte.
It slims the car up.
Now, it makes the right side perfectly flat, right? Better aero that way, I think Darrell Walter said it. Either way, notable cars here have bounced off the wall and won. Dale Jr. probably being the richest of those. Back then, the Winston paid, $750,000 in actual money and not sort of charter. So, how about that? Speaking of actual money versus charters, big news, we're going to see charters come to Indy cars.
Oh, they made the decision, okay.
Yeah, they're going to announce that. The teams will have the right to entry, but the charters will be owned by them. But the teams will have the right to them. Apparently there will be 25 of them. 22 of them will pay, so kind of similar to what they have now. No word on guaranteed entries for Indianapolis. I suspect that will not happen. But we're looking at 27 full-time Indy cars next year with Freeman joining. And I would surmise that we're going to start seeing, there'll be a maximum starter corporate. I would imagine that we're going to start seeing teams slim back down to 2 cars. Now that the series is healthy enough, there's no need for one team to run 5, 6 cars. If that makes sense.
Trying to think of Penske times where they ran only 2 cars. They've always had a history of running more than 2. When they had Elio, and now let me go on this. When they had Elio and DeFerrin, they had that 2-car effort for a while, and then it was Unser and DeFerrin for a while. And then it was... No, it was not Unser and DeFerrin. I want to say that there was a period where it was Unser and Emo without Tracy.
So the third car was always a 500-mile race only car.
Well, yeah, back in the 80s. Yeah, back in the 80s was always there. That the third car, and that was typically for Al Sr. and then later for Paul Tracy.
Right. So historically they've been 2 cars. Although I'm trying to think, Bill Alsop in that period, maybe the early 80s, Danny Ongaius in the mid 80s, that would have been a third car. Where they sort of sold a third entry maybe.
I don't remember Ongaius racing for Penske, but definitely Alsop did.
84, 85. I have to look that up, Gary. You're making me reach back into the memory bank now. The only native Hawaiian, of course, ever driven in NASCAR.
There's the NASCAR Man just released a really good documentary on him. I'm only about halfway through it, but NASCAR Man just released it on YouTube. Check it out after the race here. NASCAR Man on the gas, that was Ongaius's nickname. I know him as the Flying Hawaiian, but Danny on the gas.
So they were always entered as Interscope. Well, no, I take that back. 1987.
No, so 87 he was with Penske, but he wrecked, as typical in Gaius. So he never raced with Penske, but he ended up going to Indy for that entry and then gave it up, of course, to Big Al, who then got the 4th win.
Correct.
Yeah, so he wrecked that car so bad. He wrecked that car so bad they had to go to a chassis that was sitting in a hotel lobby to pull that one out.
And now it sits in the museum.
Yeah, yeah, as it should.
Still watching Greg Evans, a year-old march with a Cosworth, while Mears and Sullivan had the benefit of a current Penske Chevrolet, which kind of a stroke of luck for Big Al, because the Chevrolet, if you recall, broke. Not only that, but it kind of, for Big Al, if you think about the cars that he drove in the mid to late 80s and even on into the early 90s, he did most of the development work on the Chevrolet and then really never got to race it. And then,
big battle here, right around Feinvar Ellis and Lionel Callisto here. A battle brewing for 7th. Also involved in this is Say Hey Lewis Hayes. Fortunately, Trepto Joe's a lap down. He's right in front of the action, but it's a battle for 7th. We're the closest on the racetrack. Big John, Callisto, Say Hey Lewis Hayes, 7th, 8th, and 9th.
And these guys will want to get going because Greg Evans is just a hair under 8 seconds behind them to put him a lap down. So they'll want to get going.
Well, they're about 10 laps with it, and then there it is. There's Goodman coming off pit road. So Goodman just stopped. So he is the first of the takers. So I would imagine a lot of these guys are going to stop here relatively soon. 42 laps for Evans, 42 for Mall, 39 for Wagner, 41 for Armstrong, 40 for Crow. Crow and Fallis on pit road. So Rick D and Crow on pit road. I don't expect Wagner's going to stop for another 10 to 11 laps. So he's again going long. There he is. There's a Rick D and Sam Crow on pit road. So your Team Penske drivers in the Indy 500. Of course, Mark Donahue was his first driver. David Hobbs drove for the captain. Of course, we don't remember. Most people don't remember Gary Bettenhausen. He was a big prospect for the captain in the mid '70s. Gordon Johncock did some time with the captain. Mike Hiss. I want to say he actually posed at a magazine. Mike Hiss did.
I'm going to give you a piece of trivia about Mike Hiss. Lionel Callisto is going to pull it on the pit lane here too.
Yep. He almost gets in the back of Big John. Big John was holding on to his breath there. Now, I'm wondering if Callisto's going to come down and execute the fast repair.
He could, although it might be premature. Matt Wagner coming in. That's going to be the 29 of Pat Armstrong.
That's kind of early for Wagner. I thought Wagner would be another, but he's been racing by himself for a lot, so maybe not a chance to conserve fuel. But he's about 10 laps earlier than I expected him to. So if he wants, I think he's going to have to stop again. But it's going to be a splash at the end. And yes, we do see Callisto with a shinier new car now, or a shinier car. So I do think he executed the fast repair and got the sheet metal on that car banged out on the right side there.
Oh, most certainly did. That's going to hand the lead.
Twinsy is the leader, but Evans is out on the racetrack. They got lap traffic in front of him.
Waiting on.
Well, now Twinsy actually is on the racetrack. So Twinsy got out in front of him by stopping earlier. He's 7 laps. Remember, he's one of the earlier takers, so he's 7 laps into his next stint, and gets out in front of Evans. So the undercut, pretty powerful, but Evans running down. Fallis with the Rick D there with the purple lap of 30.109, and here we got Big John's kind of in between the battle here, but Evans is reeling in Twinsy.
There you go. I'm watching Twinsy sandwiched between.
There he is. Yeah. Yes, I was right. Mike Hiss did pose in a magazine.
Okay, so here's the trivia about Mike Hiss, and it kind of about Mike Hiss and Team Penske and all that, and it gives it away. Who was the first woman to compete in an Indy car?
Arlene Hiss. That was his wife.
That's right. Arlene Hiss. Everybody always wants to say Janet Guthrie, not the case. Arlene Hiss beat Janet Guthrie to the punch by running Phoenix in a 2-year-old Eagle Offenhauser in 1976. The car that was later raced in Indianapolis by Lloyd Ruby. How about that?
So yeah, Janet gets the notoriety for being the first at Indianapolis. But yeah, Arlene was the earliest in IndyCar history to actually qualify and pilot an actual car during the race. So after Hiss, Bobby Allison would do his part-time driving for the captain there when he would come over and do the 500. I guess this is when the races were not on the same day. The 600 and the 500 were not on the same day. The 500 being on the Sunday before Memorial Day is a more of a, actually believe it's more of a modern era standard. Before it used to always be, I think, on Memorial Day, and by then the Coke race was already run.
So the history of that is it for a long time it was on May 31st.
Yes, the last day of the year.
Right,
the last day of the month. Yes,
last day of May. No matter what day that fell, and then it moved to Memorial Day when Memorial Day became a holiday, and then
which is it's Memorial Day is actually one of the newer. People don't realize it, but it's one of the, in terms of a holiday that's come around in the last 50 years or so. But yes, it's a bit of a newer holiday. Yeah.
So, but it was on May 31st until the 70s, I think.
Yes, and then they moved it. Yep. Sunday before Memorial Day. Yep.
Well, no, they moved it to the holiday proper, and then they thought, well, that's probably we shouldn't have it on the holiday, and so then they had it on Sunday. Meanwhile, the Charlotte race historically until the late 80s was held on Saturday.
Yeah.
Because it was a day race. There were no lights at Charlotte until 1992. And so Charlotte was on Saturday, and then Indianapolis was on Sunday. Charlotte was not held on Sunday until the late 80s.
Yeah, that's more of a modern era change too.
Mm-hmm. And so, it's only been in modern times, really. And the other thing people don't realize is when you talk about drivers, as we watch Greg Evans, he's now 2.7 seconds ahead of Twinsy, and they are 7.5 clear of Dean Darthmall in third. Michael Goodman 10 seconds back and forth. The entire field very spread out now. I'm going to cycle through and see if we can find a battle, Gary, but
I don't think. We'll take a look here. Intervals, the closest battle on the racetrack. It's going to be right here. Crow is 7/10 behind Goodman and just in front of Wagner. I think that's your closest battle on the racetrack. Wagner needs to get around Richie, which he will here. And then he'll be in direct contact with Sam Crow in P5. So, so Bobby would drive for the captain during the period where he would go to Charlotte, race, qualify and race there, then come back to Indianapolis. Then through the 70s, he picked up Tom Sneva. Most famously, he fired Sneva after winning a national championship. There was a bit of other reasons for that, but the main reason is that he wanted to give a full-time ride to Mears, because Mears was still a part-time driver. But yeah, Tom and the captain had a bit of a falling out. Even though Tom won the national championship at 78, he moved on to other pastures. I wouldn't say greener, until he got with the Texaco squad in 82, 83, 84. But Bignotti. But so that was Steve. And then, believe it or not, oh boy, guys side by side, Wagner and Crow.
That was as close as you're going to get to not reckon too
well, I don't think Sam liked him that close, and he got really close when they were going through the quad oval. But Wagner is around. No, they did not touch, but they got really close. And Crow, if he could get back, and if Crow could get to the bumper, I think he'd give it to him right now.
He's not going to be able to. Matt Wagner's been a half a second a lot.
But now, Wagner, this has not been helping as these two are now back in single file. The racing has not been helping as they're running down Goodman now.
You couldn't have fit a single slice handstand.
No, not at all, not at all. That was so. But Mario Andretti did a period of racing with the captain for 76, 77, 78, 79, and 80. People forget about that. And then Mario jumped to Pat Patrick, which is kind of the arch rival at the time of Penske. Then Rick Mears drove from 78, where he was Rookie of the Year in a part-time effort at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, to 92. Also, in that period, the captain picked up Bobby Unser on the downside of his career, kind of in his final couple years. He retired after getting that disputed Indy 500 win at 81. Bill Alsop, which we talked about, he did some time in 82 with the 81 with the squad. Bill also did do some time with Pat Patrick as well. Kevin Cogan in that ill-fated 82 campaign. Of course, a lot of that had to do with what happened at Indianapolis at the start in 82. He did one season with the captain. And then Al Unser drove for the captain from 83 all the way through 89. Much of it part-time, but enough of it to become a national championship early in that string, and then get his Indy 500 win, the fourth Indy 500 win later in that string. Johnny Rutherford has done a little time with the captain. Mike Thackwell, there's a name you'd never heard of. He did some time with the captain in 85 as a sub-driver in the parts of the kart campaign there. Then we get Danny Sullivan. Danny Sullivan raced for the captain from 85 to 91. Jeff Brabham did a season, did some partial races at a partial season 89. And then Emo from 89 all the way through 95 officially, and then unofficially in 96.
Yeah, the 96 with the Penske Hogan, which I think was Roger Penske's nice way of letting Emerson go.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he had that horrific accident in Michigan.
Well, I think that's kind of the racing gods giving him back grief for drinking orange juice in Victory Lane. Because if you look, he really, and I said this before, he was kind of cursed after drinking orange juice in Victory. He only got 4 more wins in his career. And in 2.5 years, basically, after his last win at the Indy 500, his career was done.
Yeah.
And he also, he crashed out while leading the 500 by a lap, and the next year he didn't qualify. So I would say that orange juice was a big curse.
Speaking of done, I think Sam Crow's tires are done. He has given up fifth to Michael Goodman.
Yeah, and Wagner up to 4th now.
He is gone. Wagner is gone. Sam Crow is falling into the clutches of Pat Armstrong, who is going to get by him now.
Yep, there it is.
But I think the tires on that. are just about done.
Well, that's 22 laps into the stint for Crow. So either he's rubbed on him really, really hard, or maybe he's trying to set a pace.
It could be either one. I tend to lean, given how hard he was racing with.
All right,
with Goodman
Darth
and Wagner.
Ball side by side with Rodriguez. This is down the back stretch.
The point I was going to raise with Mike Hitt was that he had the distinction of qualifying for Mario Andretti.
Yes.
The other person that holds that distinction, put it on the front row, by the way. So
Wally Dallenbach.
Yeah, the other one was Wally Dallenbach. So talk about super subs.
Yeah.
But then the other thing I was going to say about Mike Hitt, he drove he also drove the Black Eagle for Dan Gurney very successfully. You guys don't know what the Black Eagle is out there. I don't know, we're calling it stock car racing. The Black Eagle was back in the early ground effects days was a different way to generate downforce. So these cars were Chevrolet engines with Pontiac heads. They were stock locked, and they were almost looked like triangular, right? They had the dark tub, and then they were triangular at the back.
Yeah.
Really weird looking setup for
I would say the best example, if anyone wants to see kind of what those Gurney Eagles look like, is go see
Pepsi Challenger.
The Pepsi Challenger or the Coors Silver Bullet that Al Jr. drove in '83 when he was trying to block for his dad and Tom Sneva.
The Pepsi Challenger would be my vote, because that one actually won a race. When Milwaukee came from last to do it.
Yeah.
But those cars were outlawed because they
battle
were
on the racetrack.
revolutionary.
Goodman, Armstrong, Crow now are all bumper to bumper.
Yeah, they are. And it's hard to kind of handicap this battle for me, because you don't know. Pat Armstrong, of course, qualified outside pole, and he's been up at the front of this deal. Sam Crow has taken a turn at the front, led some laps. Rick D has also been toward the front in this one. You don't quite know who's got what. You've got Crow and Fallis on tires that are a couple of laps newer, but then you don't know if they're running through a pace, they're saving fuel, exactly what the strategy is.
Yeah, exactly.
We're creeping up on lap 120, so those gentlemen that pitted around lap 80, so we're talking about Pepto Joe to start with. They're going to start hitting pit road for their final set of tires here within the next few laps, and he's followed in pretty close attendance by Michael Goodman, as well as David Swingles Rodriguez, and that'll really kind of set off the final pit cycle here. We would expect that Matt Wagner would be the last to come in. He stopped at 93. And so we're going to see that start to play here too. But it'll be kicked off, I would assume, by Pepto No, Pepto Joe's already stopped. So he's on pit lane now.
Pepto Joe, 45 miles per hour speed limit on pit road, coming to his stall, making his final stop at lap 120, 121, hitting his marks. Going to put on the freshies all the way around and whatever fuel to get to the finish.
Probably don't need as much. You probably don't need a full fuel cell here. One thing that we might point out is that Michael Goodman is beating Armstrong and Crow. Armstrong and Crow both have a couple of laps on him in terms of longevity here.
Lionel Callisto has the purple lap, by the way. He managed to bring it down to a 29.8.
Fresh tires. It might be an adventure for Armstrong and Crow, even with Michael Goodman signaling. Just maneuverability, old tires, and Goodman's going to be on the preferred line trying to get down the pit road here very shortly.
Yeah, we're watching the leaders, seeing when they're going to make that next turn. Kind of watch this group of Goodman, Armstrong, Crow, still the closest battle on the racetrack. The way that they're staying in line, it makes me think that Armstrong and Crow are just trying to do some fuel conservation. All the while, they got Goodman punching a hole. Put Goodman to the inside. He's going to let him go. I don't know if that's going to be a sign that he's coming to pit road. Or he just got tired of being the the air dam for the entire squad.
Well, he did not come to pit road.
No, I think he got tired of being. I think he got tired of being the lead car. Just like, you know what, guys, I'm just going to let you go. And so now, Stretch, who is now started on the pole, down 4 spots, he is now leading this pack, whether he wanted to or not. Move him up to 5th, Crow 6th. Goodman 7th. Big John and Rick D coming to pit road. Actually, Big John on the pit road. Rick D, on the racetrack. Rick D on pit road. This will be his final stop. Hearn has made his final stop at 115. Pepto at 119. Rick D at 122. Big 10-second lead for Evans. Just waxing the field at the moment. There's Evans at the start-finish line now. Here comes Dean Darth Maul. Between 3 and 4 now getting to the quad oval area. And there is that. And side by side, Wagner and Rodriguez. This is for 3rd.
Look at the stock car driver go. He gets down on the inside of David Rodriguez. Rodriguez trying to fight back on the outside, but the tire's just not there. 7 laps older for David Swinsy's Rodriguez. He'll fall to 4th, put Matt Wagner on the podium. He has 2.7 seconds up to Dean Darth Maul for 2nd, and then it is a long, long road. 10 seconds from Dean up to Greg Evans, your leader. He is putting an exclamation point on this one. Right now, the fastest car in the top 6.
It's Evans, Maul, Wagner, Rodriguez, Crow, Armstrong, Goodman, Callisto, Hayes, Big John, your top 10. Still a number of stops still need to happen for a lot of these guys to make it home. And here's Rodriguez. He said, you know, that's it. I don't know if he sped on pit road, but that's going to be awfully close. He about lost it on entry. But he is on pit road now, along with Stretch. Stretch is right behind him there in the 29 for his final stop. So let's see what happens when Rodriguez gets to his stall. Did he speed?
I do not believe so. Double check it.
Very close.
Flag is in the air for David Swinsy Rodriguez.
Oh, and there he gets the hold. There's the 40-second hold. So Armstrong will get the position on pit road. And that is, I think Rodriguez realized that the shot for the win is over and has called it quits.
Unfortunate. What a great run from David Swinsy Rodriguez. We're going to see Dean Darth Maul hit pit road. I hope he gets slowed down.
Sam Crow on pit road. He's down and away.
So Greg Evans still out. He's still your leader. Matt Wagner promoted to second place in the pit cycle. Again, we expect him to stay out a little bit longer, although it makes me a liar because he just called that he's coming into the pit, I would assume. I don't have the audio on. But,
Darth Maul in the pits. Yeah, he's down in the way. Big John in the pits. He's down in the way. Goodman in the pits. He is 10, 11, 12, 13. A very slow stop. 14.8. I don't know if he had some damage. Maybe he got banged out or something. I don't know. Compared to some around him, had shorter stops.
Tires are quicker than fuel, so it could have been that he ran the tank a little bit more dry or took less fuel during an earlier stop, whatever have you. Watching Wagner stop, Greg Evans still has yet to come in.
Not really. I'm just, you know what? I'm so used to IndyCar stops. When I see 14 seconds, I think that's slow. I mean, I think Goodman did a good stop. He was right on par with everyone else. So I don't think anything wrong happened there at Goodman. So here's Evans, still waiting for his final stop. He stopped on 92. Callisto now up to P2, who's kind of just in front of our leader just a little bit by
everybody
by about 3 seconds. But Callisto still needs to come. He pitted on 92. Say hey, he's lapped on pitted on 91. Evans on 92. So we're expecting these guys any time now for final stops.
Very much so. Now, caution flew right now. It would turn the whole thing on its head because Greg Evans has a lap on everybody except Lionel Callisto, who has yet to pit. Say Lewis Hayes is a lap down in third. He has yet to pit. Everybody else from Maul on back has pitted. And so, but there's, we're in that kind of crazy window where crazy things happen. Meanwhile, those guys that have tires, Maul, Armstrong, Crow, Wagner, Fowler, Michael Goodman, Pepto Joe, they are turning their cars into rocket ships. Michael Goodman just put in a personal best 30.026. He is 2 seconds a lap quicker than Greg Evans. So how much longer does Greg Evans want to stay out here?
And then we got a direct battle with Armstrong, Crow, and Wagner now. This is 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Yes, we do. But how much longer does Evans want to stay out here? Because he is putting that 10-second advantage that he had in
and he's on pit road now. He's on pit road now.
Yeah. Must have heard me. He's putting that in jeopardy. So, he let 6 seconds of that disappear. Watch Matt Wagner pull right up on the back of Sam Crow. He's going to duck to the outside, and there's Richie Hearn. Nice job by everybody to get through that. I thought Wagner was going to pull the outside of Sam Crow there on the exit of 4.
Callisto coming to pit road, so this is the final stop.
Yep. Let's see where Greg Evans slides out. So he has what? 10-second lead.
Oh, Say Hayes coming to pit road right now, and here is Evans. He's out, and he is going to the lead.
To be in the lead, but by how much?
About 2 seconds over Maul. 3 seconds over Maul. And Callisto, of course, set that fast lap 29.8, so he will be trying to set another fast lap when he comes out.
Yeah, so that's the power of the short pit. Those 5 laps from Dean Darth Maul gained him over 7 seconds on the racetrack. The problem is going to be now that Greg Evans has the fresh tires and Maul's are worn in. Well,
they're only 5 laps older, but yeah.
I'm going to tell you what. Matt Wagner is going to make reservations. If he keeps getting closer, he's going to make reservations in Sam Crow's trunk. They are. These 3 have been locked in battle now for some time, and Wagner's desperately searching for a way around Sam Crow. Of course, much as the light has had Armstrong running third now, because he's watching them 2 guys wear out their tires, thinking, "Man, this is great. Y'all keep fighting." Wagner now is going to pull it to the inside of Sam Crow. Going into turn 3. He's got a fender. He's got a nose. He's going to make it work down on the bottom. Not quite. There,
Brazilian clear.
Well, I think Sam might have taken exception to that because now he is using the bumper.
He's a little. He gave Matt a little "How's about you?" Going at 1 and 2 there.
I think that just propelled Wagner past Armstrong. To be quite honest with you, gave him a little shot. Wagner says, "I'll take that momentum, drive past Armstrong," and so move Matt Wagner up to 3rd. We'll put Pat Armstrong in 4th, Stretch Armstrong in 4th, and Sam Crow into 5th. Meanwhile, Michael Goodman has chopped about 2.5 seconds off of these guys. So he's within 2 seconds now of joining Sam Crow at the back of the saddle. Just in case we were keeping track of that. All of this happening 5 seconds in arrears of Dean Darth-Maul, who is 6 seconds back from Greg Evans, about 6 to 7 tenths a lap slower for Dean Darth-Maul as opposed to Greg Evans. Now, none of these guys should have any tires left, right, Gary?
I don't think any of them do. Yeah, this should be it.
Yeah, so even if we get a yellow light for whatever reason, even if we should get a yellow light, there are no tires left to take. And wouldn't that be fun to watch a restart at Charlotte on those tires for all the money late in the race?
Well, we are late in the race. It's lap 141 of 155. Once again, if you're just joining us, this is race first coverage of round 4 of 14 of the ISRA Xfinity Series coming to you from Charlotte, where Greg Evans is your leader with just a handful of laps to go. As you see there, we're about 14 laps now to go. Make sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel so don't miss out on the next race. Don't forget to your commentary team by sending a donation our way via our GoFundMe link. GoFundMe campaign link, excuse me. It's in the description. Just click on that. You can send a donation our way. We certainly would appreciate it. The week coming up for Race First is going to be pretty packed. And we'll get to that here in a second. Yeah, we got tomorrow we'll have the IndyCar Oval Series, our premier program at 8:15. They will be at, I believe you guys are at Texas, right? Yeah, Texas.
We are at New Texas. If I put that car in victory lane, I fully expect that my good friend and fellow American Gary Godsill will send me some 6 shooters in a cowboy hat.
And then,
by the way, that is one of the funniest things that you'll ever watch in your life. Go YouTube Scott Dixon Victory Lane, Texas. Just the boyish grin that all those drivers get when Eddie Goss is used to give them the guns at the sessions. But nobody did that better than Scott Dixon. Just massive grin on his face.
I gotta get this public these promos in, man. We got the Ford EW12 series tentatively scheduled right now for 3 p.m. on Friday. Although I hear it might be a weather situation, and we might not have that race. We'll see. Currently, it is scheduled for 3 p.m. Eastern on Friday. The big race of the week is 2 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. That's the IndyCar iRacing Series, and that is at Indianapolis for the Indianapolis 500K. So the IIS this season is racing 100% length races on all races except Indianapolis. And they are only doing a 500K there. And everyone will be, especially those with the open setup gangs, are kind of using this as another warm-up race for the big Open 500 that will be probably on Saturday or Sunday. Forget when that's going to be broadcasted for the big split. But we will be broadcasting the Open leadoff, the Open IndyCar Open 500 leadoff top split at 9 p.m. Eastern on Friday, the 31st. So mark that down. And then Saturday, the 1st at 5 p.m. will bring you the fixed Indy 500 top split. So that's kind of, we got some big things coming up here in the next week. Check it out.
The ultimate warm-up race, and won't that be a good one? I can tell you, we ran a 200-miler in the regular Open Series tonight. Had some bad luck as a team. Rashad got taken out early, Kevin got taken out late, and I got taken out in the middle. But we got some fast race cars in that Indy Alliance table, and they're ready. Just that hair, looking for a little bit more, Gary. But you're always looking for a little bit more, right?
Yeah, oh, of course. 8 to go. Evans, 10-second lead now. Mall following back. Mall has 3 seconds on top of Wagner at the moment. And then Wagner 2 seconds on top of Crow. Armstrong and Goodman is really your closest battle on the racetrack. Involved in that one is Lewis Hayes, who is a lap down, but has some pace at the moment as he'll work a way around Armstrong there for just track position. So 7 to go.
Lewis Hayes stopped at lap 135. So he's got the freshest tires on the racetrack. Goodman has been chipping away. Since here, since there. He at one point was 2 seconds behind what was a battle between Wagner, Crow, and Armstrong. That has separated a little bit, but Michael Goodman has closed the gap on Stretch Armstrong here, and could catch him. That's going to be, I think, about the only battle for position we're going to close in the lap. It's been anywhere between 6 and 8 cents per second for Michael Goodman. Kind of hit a wall about the last 3 or 4 laps. Watching Lewis Hayes dive under Sam Crow, that he's turned that car into a rocket. But it's going to be too little, too late for Lewis Hayes. Interested to see Goodman 2-lap pressure tires. This is just, I think he's run them too hard here.
5 to go, now 4 to go. 6 more miles here at Charlotte. I've been to this racetrack twice. I went to the when the Indy cars first came here back in '97, and the second race in '98. A good facility. I'd like to see the Indy cars come back, but I'd like to see them on the Roval, not the Oval. Not these current iteration of Indy cars, but those IRL cars back was probably about a perfect fit for this track.
Yeah, I have not. I've been here. I've been by it as I've been in it as a tourist. I've never been to a race here. My dad has been here and brought back a very interesting souvenir, which is now a paperweight. You remember the old Nextel Vision handheld thing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He came back from Charlotte with one of those, and my father would not spend 2 cents on one. We have racing electronics. We have racing anyway, so he would never have bought one. But they were seated under the spotter stand. One of the spotters dropped it, and it, the thing fell down and it hit him and left a nice welt on his shoulders. And so he kept the thing, and I've got it around here somewhere, and it worked for a while. We had to buy a charger and whatever, and it worked for a while. It was completely unlocked, but then they discontinued the service.
White flag.
What a neat device that was. I wish they'd bring something like that back. Anyway, Greg Evans, what a tremendous performance. 12 seconds over Dean Darthmall, 14 over Wagner and stuff.
Yeah, I think when we look at how the final stats of this pans out, the right man is getting in the victory lane. He's dominated today from start to finish, bringing home for win number 1 in the ISRA Xfinity Series. Greg Evans, your winner tonight at Charlotte. Dean Darthmall with his first podium in a while. Good to see him back on that second step. And Matt Wagner shows that he is a stock car driver after all, and comes home third on the bottom step. Sam Crow just misses another podium in 4th, but still a good top 5. Pat Armstrong Stretch comes home in a top 5. Goodwin 6th after a strong couple of weeks for him as well. Another top 10. Callisto, 7th. Kind of a race that I'm sure that he might want to forget, just it didn't pan out for him. Rick D, 8th. Pepto Joe, 9th. Big John, 10th and 11th. We'll get the final standings up here in just a moment. All right, that works. Let's get these graphics all off here. Now, let's get in today's final standings here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. I didn't like it when they called it Lowe's. I was never a big fan of the commercial branding. I can't imagine any, imagine if they called like Indianapolis Motor Speedway like Bankers Life Speedway. Nah, forget it. Forget it. But your winner tonight, Greg Evans.
Yeah, what a tremendous.
Here you go, and he started right there on the front row and led 129 of 155 laps. That's domination right there. We haven't seen domination of this since I think Rodriguez won at Gateway in the Truck Series. Maul finished second, and Wagner third there, led 6 laps, up 9 spots. Darth Maul up also 7 spots. Crow fourth, Pat Armstrong 5th, Goodman 6th, Callisto 7th. It's probably one of the worst finishes for him we've seen in a while, but it's at least a top 10, and when you need a top 10, that's that's a good time to bring those in. Rick D in 8th, Pepto Joe 9th, Big John in 10th. Say Hayes at 11th, Richie Hearn 12th, Twinsy in 13th, Rigney, the host with the most, lined up 14th, but then taking laps, but he'll get credit for 14th. What happened to Butch Davis? Lined up 15th and decided not to take the green flag, so he will come home or get credited with 15th. And 1 caution for 4 laps. It's nice race. Good racing etiquette again for everybody.
That's been the hallmark of this series, Gary. Just not only the racing etiquette, but the long stretches of green flag. I would be interested to see what the overall percentage of green flag laps is, because it has.
I can update that. I have a spreadsheet. I can do an update on that and have that out for the next race. Let's bring up. We want to bring up Wagner. Is this him here? They don't change their names on. Yeah, that's him there. They don't change their names on the server, so I could be bringing up the wrong person. That might be fun.
We'll talk to him anyway.
Well, let's bring up Wagner here. Matt, we got you here in the booth with Gary and Mark. Mark is on like a long string and a tin can right now talking. So if you can't understand him, don't worry about it.
It's a good thing. I don't want to talk about last night. Let's just move forward.
Well, I mean, you proved that you're a better stock car driver today because you brought the car home third.
Is there any way I can? Never mind. I'm not going to go into detail.
Anyways, sir, talk about your race. You improved in 9 spots and a rough start, but overcame a rough start and finished strong. So let's talk about it.
So I really think it's been a really difficult time for me to. I think I was too conservative on the first run because I was watching everybody's lap times, and as soon as we got to about 40, 45, 46 laps and on my tires there, I was like, whoa, I'm like a tenth of a second faster than the leader. And it's like, Then I'm looking the time separating from me from the leader. It's like, oh god, probably shouldn't have done that. And so, like I said, it's a learning curve. I'm learning, so this has been a really difficult experience. I feel like the truck suits my wheelhouse a little bit better, but overall, these cars are fun to drive. The second run, I think I've been kind of lackadaisic on my pit stops, coming in kind of slow, but I don't want to speed as we saw what happened to,
Twinsy, yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, I mean, go ahead. Finish off.
No, go ahead. Please do.
I just want to say that, I mean, despite everything, you overcame that, having to use that fast repair really early with that incident.
Oh, I had nowhere to go on that one.
Yeah, we saw that.
I was, my luck has been atrocious lately. It's been so bad.
Well, I mean, it could be on an upward swing by, after all that, you came home third for a podium that at the opening level laps looked very unlikely.
Yeah. I can't remember. Are there any drops in this league? I'll have to check with the pit boss. About that
Rigney,
one, so.
I don't know if he's in chat here.
Yeah.
He can let us know if there's any drops or not. But anyways, we'll kick this off here. I don't know if Mark has any questions, but I don't know if you could even hear him if he did. But opportunities for shout-outs, friends, family, sponsors, that type of thing. Got you up here again. It's been a little while, but we got you up here again. So go ahead and give them out. 2 drops, says Mark.
Oh, thank you.
Or Mike, excuse me.
Mike.
Mark. I'm
looking
looking at
Mark before at a certain race.
Yeah.
You said Mark Rigney.
I know, because I'm talking with Mark Murphy in the booth, and it's just too many M's.
Mike. Well, I'm an M here. So
I know, but you're also a stock car driver, so
don't you threaten me like that. Anyway, I got a shout out to TWR guys, James Watson, all them. Shout out to my parents, sleeping happily. They don't watch my races, so it's all good. I'm not too worried about it. And you guys with the great podcast, and Mike Rigney, the host of the most, with the absolutely wonderful league that I look forward to every week. I can't believe I said that. I really should go take a shower, get all this crap off me. All right, guys, take it easy.
All right, man, have a good one. All right, let's see. Do we have
Dean?
Yeah,
I think I got my headset.
You do have the headset fixed. All right. So here is Dean. Let's bring Dean on up. Hey, Dean, we got you here with Gary and Mark now with a fresh headset. First podium in a while. Congratulations. Just kind of hanging up there all day and brought it home second.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, it was did better than I thought. I didn't really expect to be able to hang on the long run, but just didn't have anything for Greg. I mean, he had me on fresh tires, old tires in the pits. It was pretty much a sound beating where he had it.
Don't worry. I think the rest of the field joins you in that.
So I do have a question though, Dean. Did you guys outrun the tires, or were you running the tanks dry?
It's a little bit of both. The first 2 runs were full tanks, and then the last 2 I was just driving a little bit harder and kind of burning through the tires more, so just kind of short pitting there to try to keep the freshest tires I could.
All right.
Well, that answers my question.
There you go. Well, I know it's been a while. It's good to see you back up here on the podium. So any friends, family, sponsors, anyone to shout out to, say hi to before we let you go?
No, just everybody here in the league. I mean, thanks George for bringing us together and Mike for keeping us going. It's a great group of guys, a lot of fun. Definitely thinking about Mike. I mean, he had a family situation, so our thoughts and prayers are with him. And I just want to thank everybody for putting the league on, racing, and you guys for doing the broadcast. It's always cool to watch. So thank you for everything y'all do.
Indeed, and everything you said there, we echo that. And then we hopefully will see you I think we actually have a off week next week because next Monday is Memorial Day. So we will see you in a couple weeks at Dover.
All right, looking forward to it. Yeah, it's been a good start to the year. I missed first race, but I've been around top 5 every week, so just look to keep it going.
And they keep adding up at the end of the season. But have a good Indy 500 weekend, and we'll catch you at the next one.
All right, thanks, guys. You too. Have a good one.
Heck yeah, you too, Dean.
All right, let's bring up Greg Evans. Here is our ringer of the day. Greg Evans here in the booth with us. This is Gary and Mark. Greg, made little work of this field. Kind of dominated this race, start to finish. Did almost everything but win that pole. But just about everything else you took care of. Talk about your race. There really wasn't much other than just avoiding mistakes and getting on and off of pit road nice and smooth.
Yeah, that first run really set us up really good. Was able to get about a 1.5-second lead, and then through the first round of pit stops, I think I got about a 3.5-second lead. And once that happened, I just really focused on saving my tires the first half of the run, and knowing that I would kind of lengthen it back out a little bit at the end of the runs. So that's kind of just the strategy we played the rest of the race, and it just kind of fell in our favor.
Mark.
So Greg, Mark Murphy up here in the booth. Do you give lessons? What a tremendous race. I just kind of wanted to know from your perspective, is it more line or throttle control that helped you maintain your pace there?
Well, if you're looking for lessons, I can teach you all the stuff not to do. Pretty much. But I really think it's a little bit of both, depending on what racetrack you're at. I really try to be really deliberate with the throttle, and not really play with it too much. But then also, like tonight, you would run the bottom for about halfway through the run, and then it seemed like the top got better in 1 and 2. So a lot of it was just kind of experimenting, watching your lap times, knowing how hard you're pushing it, and just trying to be really, really consistent is kind of my strategy. But sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But just tonight was one of those times that it did work out.
Talk about your racing relationship with Rigney there. He says he's known you for quite a while, and good to see you here in the ISRA. And are we going to see more of you?
Yeah, I definitely plan on trying to race most of the rest of the races. I've known Rigney for quite a while through Sam Crow as well. A lot of the guys that race over here I've known for quite a while. Kind of bounced back and forth for the last few years at different places. Took about 1.5 years off there for a while. But trying to get back into it. Just built my new computer a couple weeks ago. So
nice.
Yeah, just trying to really start getting back into it and doing what the wife will let me. Right now, I got a contract for like once a week.
Smart man. We understand that. Yes. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to stretch it to 2 nights a week, but when you got a 3-year-old.
I understand that.
That doesn't work.
They do grow up fast, though. They do grow up fast. I had a 3-year-old once, and now she's 21. Anyways,
no worries. My 7-year-old just arrived at my side here, so definitely feel that pain.
But now here's your chance to give a shout out to the wife, who clearly deserves it, and clearly earned it. What we do here is when you get on the podium, we give you a chance to shout out to friends, families, loved ones, sponsors, teammates, anybody you want to. So go right ahead. By virtue of winning your first race here on the program, you have that right to do that. So go right ahead.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, got to thank the wife. Hopefully when I get done here, my wife and daughter are sound asleep. But you also got to thank Freightliner, iRacing, iFlag, Sim Labs, Sim Magic, and all my buddies and everybody over at CRL, and Mike Rigney for hosting it, man. It was a lot of fun tonight.
Yeah, man, I love that livery you have. That strikes me. So looks good, and I hope we get to see more of you and it on future broadcasts. So congratulations, winner tonight at Charlotte. And hopefully we'll see you in about 2 weeks next at Dover.
Sounds good, guys. Appreciate you guys hosting it, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
No problem. And the host with the most has said the points are up. I don't have a graphic ready to go, but we can report that we now have a battle for the lead between Goodman and Wagner. We are dead nuts tied, actually, at 145 a person for first there. And then Callisto is right there at 1 point behind them in third. And then Crow is right there, 2 points behind Goodman and Wagner. So the top four are within 3 points of flipping for the lead.
Yeah, and that's and that's 3 positions on the racetrack, which leads me to my final thought for the day. Again, I said this. I said this in the chat. I love the thought-provoking strategies, the limited tires, the right race distances, and we are watching some absolutely outstanding racing drivers in the sim put on an amazing show week after week. To have 4 of them separated by a grand total of 2 points is absolutely amazing, and it's going to shape up to be a barn burner rest of the year. We're going to take a week off, everybody reset, and head on to Dover,
yeah,
on the 3rd of June. Yeah, so about as different as you can make it from Charlotte, a very open speedway. I know we talked about narrow and bumpy and so forth, on to Dover, which is a high bank mile bull ring, and then a flat mile at New Hampshire. So these guys are going to be tested in different ways now. We've had the speedways. We've had one short track. Now we're going to get a couple of very different miles to start off the month of June. So can't wait for that. Other than that, what an absolutely awesome show from Greg Evans tonight. He announced his presence with authority, and it'll be interesting to see how he plays in that championship battle after having missed 3 races, 2 drops, of course. So he's starting one race in arrears, but we'll see if he can carry that momentum up front. So Greg Evans, your winner tonight. 4-way battle for the lead in points. Excited to see what the rest of the season brings.
Yeah, I got the points up on the screen here. So there you see that dead heat right there. The top 3, 145, 145, 144, 143. And I mean, poor Pepto Joe. I mean, he's not out of this. I mean, we still have a long way to go, but he's in 5th, 33 points, kind of behind the main battle, and he's in a tie for 5th with Rick D, who's kind of come out of nowhere and has tied himself with Joe. Say Hey Lewis Hayes, he's only 2 points behind Joe. And Dean Darth Maul, he's only 4 points behind Joe. So we got this group of guys right here that I'm circling here that's probably going to be, at least right now, we're still 4 rounds into this, but this could be your championship foursome. But we have this group of guys down here right around the 100-point mark that are all separated by about 10 points. Okay, I'm not even throwing Richie Hearn there. He's at 99 points. They're not out of this yet. A lot of racing left to go. So just wanted to put that up on the screen to show you. We did capture that here. We wanted to show that before we went off the air. But it's a tight battle. And that is going to be indicative of kind of what we're going to see for the remainder of the season. And they kind of proved it already in the Truck Series, how close that was. And we kind of speculated it's going to be more of the same here. And it has proven to be that way. Let's go ahead and get on out of here for tonight. That is going to do it here from Charlotte. Once again, your podium, Greg Evans with a dominating win there. D Darth Ball P2, Matt Wagner says, hey, I can drive a stock car, and came home 3rd. So there's your top 3. Joy Racers again, which we have for now June 3rd. Okay, June 3rd. So not next Monday. That's Memorial Day. Everybody enjoy your holiday. Don't sim race. Enjoy your holiday. And then come back to next week and join us in Dover as the teams and drivers head to the Monster Mile there. for round 5. So coverage begins about 9:35 p.m. Eastern time. Again, it's 9:35 p.m. Eastern. As always, correct time in your area. You can find everything right here at youtube.com/RaceFirst. Now, as you know, the YouTube algorithm game's not an easy one, so please help support RaceFirst with the weekly grind. Leave a comment below. Let us know what you thought of tonight's race. And, hey, everybody in chat, thanks a lot. We do appreciate your interaction. It makes our jobs more fun. And if you enjoyed tonight's coverage, support us by smashing like in the video. If you're new, click subscribe. While you're at it, hit the bell for weekly reminders so you don't miss out more of RaceFirst's other iRacing programming, including our big race this week will be the IIS race at Indianapolis for the Indianapolis 500K. That will be 2 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. That will be our biggest race. You'll want to check that out. And then next week, the week after that, is when we will have our open race, Indy 500 Open broadcast, 9 p.m. Friday, May 31st. And then the Fixed Series, 5 p.m. Eastern, June 1st. We'll have more reminders of those coming up. But those are really going to be our probably 3 biggest broadcasts of the season, of the year, really, will be the IIS and then the Open and Fixed Indy 500. So join us, will ya? We would certainly would appreciate it. Keep your browser set here for the most in-depth IndyCar knowledge on all of iRacing. RaceFirst, we know what it means. Track cams today provided by Whiplash Sim Cams. I want to say thank you to Whiplash Sim Cams for being the official camera pack provider of RaceFirst. To learn more about Whiplash, follow them on Twitter or on Facebook, and both their links are in the stream description. For business inquiries and more about RaceFirst and what we do, visit racefirst.com, like us on Facebook, or follow us on Twitter. So for the Murph, everyone at RaceFirst, I'm Gary Gotzo saying all good night. Thanks for watching, and to all of our men and women serving in the military and as first responders, Godspeed, God bless, and come home safe. Catch us again right here, June 9th. Again, June 9th, not next week, June 9th in Dover for the next race of the ISRA Xfinity Series. Good night.